Okay, so good day everyone. Today I will be discussing your Module 4 in HMP 12, which is Lesson 2, Cooking Techniques. So the objectives, at the end of this chapter, the student must be able to first differentiate dry heat and moist heat cooking techniques. Second, understand the concept of heat transfer. Okay, so Arno Schmidt, the executive chef of the Waldorf Astoria Hotel in New York City, said that cooking is craft, which can rise on occasion to an art. Schmidt further said that no wonder that seemingly similar food taste and act differently upon endless factors. So therefore, it is essential to understand the basics of food preparation to successfully prepare a meal that have a complete harmony, so that even if they are made up of different foods and ingredients, they still taste good as a whole. So these ingredients not only refer to foods and flavorings used, but also include the type of heat used and the utensils used by the cook or chef. So food preparation absolutely is like art, but its basic techniques must be learned and mastered so that the results will nearly resemble a master chef's. So in this chapter, the heating methods in cooking foods will be discussed. Okay, so heating foods. In the previous chapters, we have discussed that high temperatures destroy microorganisms that may cause foodborne illness. Although it is one of its uses, heating is also important in cooking. It affects the molecular structure of foods, altering their odor, taste, texture, and appearance. In food preparation, heat is either moist or dry heat. So moist heat preparation technique is the process of heating up food using liquid other than oil. So liquids are used primarily to heat food, but it may also add flavor, color, texture, and appearance to the final product. Example of moist heat techniques are scalding, poaching, simmering, stewing, braising, boiling, parboiling, blanching, and steaming. So types of moist heat preparation. One example of this is scalding. So to scald in the culinary sense means to heat a liquid until below the boiling point, which is 180 degrees Fahrenheit, usually at 150 degrees Fahrenheit or 66 degrees Celsius, or to blanch fruits and vegetables like tomatoes. Okay, for instance, to facilitate the removal of the skin of the tomatoes. Scalding was primarily used with milk to improve its function in recipes and to destroy bacteria. Simmering. So water simmers just below the boiling point, never less than 180 degrees Fahrenheit. Usually at 185 degrees Fahrenheit to 200 degrees Fahrenheit. So many food dishes, especially thighs, soups, and stews are first brought to a boil and then simmered for the remainder of the heating time. So the lower heat of a simmer is essential when cooking tough cuts of the meat so that if the meat requires gentle cooking in order to become tender. Okay, so stewing. Stewing is a long, slow cooking method where food is cut into pieces and cooked in the moderate amount of liquid, water, stock, or sauce. So the food and the cooking liquid are served together. Braising. Braising is a method of cooking in the oven. So the food is cooked in liquid in a covered pan or casserole. So it is a combination of stewing and pot roasting. Braising is similar to stewing. It's just that the food is simmered in a small amount of liquid in a covered casserole or pot. So braising is commonly used to tenderize tough cuts of meat. In order to generate a browner color and better flavor, meats are frequently browned with a dry heat method such as sauteing before being braised. So in this process, the flavor is intensified due to the Maillard reaction. When we say Maillard reaction, it is a chemical reaction between amino acids and reducing sugars that gives brown food its distinctive flavor. Okay, so as you can see here, this is an example or this is the difference between braising and stewing. So when it comes to size, braising has large pieces of meat while stewing has small pieces of meat. And when it comes to liquid, covers one-third of the meat, while stewing completely covers the meat. When it comes to garnish, in braising, they are cooked separately, while in stewing, they are cooked with the meat. When it comes to the sauce, in braising, they are strained, while in stewing, it is not strained. In cooking, braising is finished in oven, while stewing is in oven or on stove top. Okay? So, boiling is cooking the ingredients by completely dipping them in a liquid. The water must reach 212 degrees Fahrenheit at sea level, a temperature at which water bubbles rapidly. Boiling is commonly used for cooking vegetables and starches as it softens the cellulose in these substances. The boiling water also relaxes connective tissue of meat and makes it tender. So as you can see here in figure 1, it is the difference in the bubbles between poaching, simmering, and boiling. Okay, so parboiling. Parboiling is similar to blanching, but it takes a longer time to remove the parboiled food. So the food is partially boiled in a boiling water, after which it is removed and it is cooked completely either at a later time or by a different heating method. So parboiling can remove poisonous or bad tasting substances from foods. It is frequently used in a restaurant when preparing food in advance and finishing it when ordered. It may also be used to soften vegetables before roasting or grilling it. Steaming. So any food heated by direct contact with the steam generated by boiling water has been steamed. Okay, so cooked vegetables are at their best when they are steamed because this method helps to retain texture, color, taste, and nutrients. So a common method for steaming is to place food in a rack or steamer basket above boiling water and to cover the pot or pan with a lid in order to trap the steam. So blanching, it is mainly used for fruits and vegetables. Usually it's carried out by dipping the product in boiling water for a short period of time, around 5 to 10 seconds, taking it out and immediately cooling it down under running cold water. So it is termed as shocking. So what is the use of blanching or uses of blanching? First, it neutralizes bacteria which normally develop in the products in order to preserve them longer. Second, it is easier to peel off some products such as tomatoes, lumps. Okay? Next, it preserves nutritional value of some foods and enhancing their flavors. Another one is improve the color of some foods and also removes the blood, salt, or impurities in meats and bones. So, dry heat preparation. Dry heat cooking refers to any cooking techniques where the heat is transferred to the food item without using extra moisture. So, this method typically involves higher temperatures, 300 Fahrenheit, or may reach up to 500 Fahrenheit. Okay, so examples of dry heat preparation include baking, roasting, broiling, grilling, barbecuing, and frying. So first we have baking. Baking is the heating of food by hot air in an oven. The average baking temperature is 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 177 degrees Celsius. Although temperatures may range from 300 degrees Fahrenheit to 425 Fahrenheit, uh, which is 149 degrees Celsius to 219 degrees Celsius. So it is considered as the slowest cooking method among the dry heat techniques. So roasting is similar to baking except that the term is usually applied to meats and poultry. So roasting is cooking in dry heat in an oven or on a spit or in a closed environment with the aid of a fat or oil. Okay, next is broiling. Broiling is similar to grilling except that the heat source is located above the food. And when you put food into a broiler, it cooks from the heat of the broiler rack as well as from the radiant heat given off by the heat source above the rack. Okay, it is used for tender meat such as fish and poultry. So grilling. Grilling is the reverse of broiling. Broiling is uh, cook food above, while grilling is cooking the food, the heat source is below. Okay? Grilled foods have a robust smoky taste, and the heat source could be charcoal, gas, wood, electric, or infrared heating. Okay, barbecuing. Barbecuing and grilling are no longer used to refer to the same heating method. Grilling over a pit used to be known as barbecuing, but now the latter term stands alone. Barbecuing now refers to foods being slow cooked, usually covered in a zesty sauce over a longer period of time. Okay, frying. Frying is heating foods in a fat. Oils is used in frying serves to transfer heat, act as a lubricant to prevent sticking and contribute to flavor, to the browning, and crisp outside textures. So types of frying: sauteing, stir frying, pan broiling, pan frying, and deep frying are distinguished by the amount of fat used, ranging from a thin sheet to complete submersion. Okay, next is sauteing and stir frying. These methods use the least amount of fat to heat the food. Stir frying is predominantly used in Asian cooking. The pan is held stationary while the food is stirred and turned over very quickly with a utensil. So sauteing is done in a frying pan. Pan broiling and pan frying. Pan broiling refers to placing food, usually meat, in a very hot frying pan with no padded fat and pouting off fat as it accumulates. So if the fat is not poured off, pan broiling becomes pan frying, which use a moderate amount of fat up to 1/2 inch deep, but not enough to completely cover the food. Next is deep frying. In deep frying, the food is completely covered with fat. Many deep fried foods are first coated with breading or batter to enhance moisture retention, flavor development, tenderness, browning, crispness, and overall appearance. So types of heat transfer. In general way, cooking can be defined as transformation of raw foods into something different. So the most often way to do this is through heating them, as previously discussed. Because of heating, food molecules have uh, the chance to move faster and faster, collide harder and harder, and react to form new structures and flavors. So this is made possible by transferring energy from the heat source into the foods. Sources for heating foods are usually electricity and gas. So it is whether natural or butane. But secondary sources such as a wood, coal, and charcoal may also be used for heating. So all of these products heat energies that can be transferred through conduction, convection, radiation, and induction. So conduction or direct contact. When thermal energy is exchanged from one particle to a nearby one by means of a collision or movement that induces movement, for example, through electrical attraction or repulsion, the process is called conduction. In preparing foods on the range or in the fryer, heat is transferred by conduction. Heat from the electric coil or gas flame is conducted to the pan or frying and then to its contents. So factors affecting conduction: first, the size of the pan; second, the material of the pan, whether if it's copper or iron. While copper is an excellent heat conductor and is often used to line the bottom of a stainless steel pans. Convection, okay. So convection or the movement in fluids in the form of heat transfer called convection. Heat is transferred by the movement of molecules in a fluid from a warm region to a cooler one. So the fluid may be a liquid such as water, or it may be the air or other gases. A common example of the use of convection is in cooking or in baking in an oven. So baked goods rely on convection to allow the hot air to rise. Next, we have radiant heat. Heat is transferred by radiation in broiling, grilling, and microwaving. So this shows electromagnetic waves that are generated by microwave ovens can pass through glass, paper, and most plastics. So infrared heat lamps and ovens are other heat sources that uses electromagnetic waves for heat. So these are usually found in restaurants and institutions or kitchens to keep food warm and to prepare frozen foods. Last is induction. So flat surface ranges that have the coils buried underneath conduct heat through induction. The cooktop consists of a smooth ceramic surface that allows the transfer to heat from the coiled electric apparatus below. Because no coils are exposed on the surface, cleaning is easy. Okay, so that's all for our module 4 in HMP 12, lesson 2. I hope you could listen to this pre-recorded class so that you will be able to answer your quizzes, your examinations, your recitations, and your activities. And thank you and have a nice day ahead.